you beautiful people. This is Mahesh Naidu from skillschoolonline.com, and in this video I'm going to quickly show you how to create a lightbox effect in your Keynote presentation so you can highlight certain parts of your presentation just like this. So in order to start, we have a slide that's supposed to be actually clean like this. If I have to give you an example of what I've taken out, it's these little things over here, which represent placeholders. We've taken out the placeholders like this, and then we have a clean slide, which is used to insert a particular screenshot. So now we'll try to insert a particular screenshot, and in order to do that, first we'll try to get the screenshot done, and we just need to, okay, close this, and here we go. So we have skillschoolonline.com, the Facebook page, and by pressing Shift, Command, and 4, the number 4, we have crosshairs over there, if you can see it. So we'll try taking a section of the Facebook page, let's say till here, okay, and then we kind of get a snapshot. Okay, so once we're done, the snapshot always goes onto the desktop. If I've changed it here, I wouldn't know, but it usually goes onto the desktop and stays there as a screenshot. So if we have to go back, right, and insert this entire thing, we're going to go to Insert and Choose. And then once we go over here, we kind of go to the desktop, and somewhere over here, you're going to have, yes, you're going to have your screenshot. So we're going to insert that, okay? And once we insert it, you have something like this. Now, we wouldn't want to do anything which would, we wouldn't want to move this around, because if we do, we might just get into an alignment problem. But then again, if you've not duplicated it already, then you can actually move it wherever you want. But if you do duplicate it and then try moving it, then we won't have some symmetrical layer. So what we have over here is a particular section of this particular screenshot, and we are trying to make a lightbox, so we really have to learn about layers. So we're trying to get a layer onto this, a duplicate layer onto this. So by that, we actually click on the slide directory over here, and we kind of duplicate this so they're similar. All right, and once this is done, all right, we go to the second one, all right, because the first one is always under the second one, all right, the overlap happens over here. So once we go to the second one, what we're going to do is we're looking at saying, okay, so now I'm going to just see if I can actually get this skillschoolonline.com as a lightbox. So when we actually go to the previous, when we travel from the transition from the previous slide to this slide should reveal only the logo of skillschoolonline.com and the text skillschoolonline.com. Okay, so that's exactly what we're trying to do. The next step right now is to duplicate this. All right, we're not talking about the slide. We're talking about this particular image. Now you see that this image is just one over here, and we just try to put it back into that crosshair over there. And then what we need to do is actually duplicate this. Okay, we have a different way of duplicating also. We can copy and paste, and we can also duplicate it, which does the copy and paste together. So what we do is we just duplicate this. The only thing is that we have to put it back right over the previous layer. Okay, and we're talking about this particular slide, this particular slide, and not the previous one. So once we do this, now the logic being that this particular, if you look at this logo over here and skillschoolonline.com, we're trying to, highlight this particular thing, and then have the background um, dulled out. Okay, so in order to do that, we are going to use a mask. When we look at masks, in the previous Keynote versions, we have the mask situated right next to collaborate and comment. I'm pretty sure it was there before, but now it's something. It's somewhat new because there are many more functions. We have different categories over here. We have format, we have animate, we have document, and under each one of those we have different subcategories. Style, image, arrange. Build in, action, build out, and document. We have document and audio. So what we are actually interested in is format. Over here, what we're going to do is we're going to mask this. So instead of looking out for something which says mask, we are going to go directly to the toolbar over here, and that toolbar somewhere in format. Okay, so we have format over here on the right hand side, and we have format here at the toolbar, but we have more functions over here. So if you go under format, we have image, and we click on image, and we have edit mask. We're not going with that right now. We're going to go with mask with shape. All right, and now remember that you are supposed to be, this is just a checklist. You're supposed to be in the second slide over here. All right, on the second layer of the slide, which is like I said, this is the first layer is behind, and then the duplicate layer is on top. Okay, and once you click on that, okay, then you go to format, and then you click on image, and then you go mask with shape. Now we're going to go and say rectangle over here. All right, and once the rectangle happens to be here, we're going to take it around somewhere here, and we're going to go down over here. Right, just move this out of the way, and we're trying to, so the main reason is that we're trying to capture, say, even send email and skillsschoolonline.com in this particular mask. Now once we're done, we just say done. Okay, and you'll understand how it's done, because you won't see it right now because both the duplicate and the normal screen shot are the same. It doesn't make any changes over here. But if you want to see what has changed, you can actually click on the background like how I'm doing right now. Click on that and just say delete, and you see that the background is deleted. So what happened was that it basically cropped the first layer into this. Now what we're trying to do is we're trying to darken the previous layer, the layer behind, the background layer. Okay, so we call this the foreground layer, and we call this the background layer. And in order to there were different ways of doing it in the previous versions, but in this version what we're trying to do is we're going to introduce a shape. Okay, so we're going to insert a shape, and that shape will be something like a rectangle. Okay, but you have to cover the entire background with that particular shape, and don't worry if it goes over everything. I'll tell you exactly how to do it. The first things first, you can insert the rectangle. Okay, now we have something like this, the rectangle. Now you get it to the corner over here, and make sure you're on the second slide. That is that should be a given. So then you hold the vertex on the right hand side bottom, and then drag it till you cover the entire screenshot. Okay, so now it looks like it's covered. Now the main thing is that it's over the layer. Now it's over the layer. What are we going to do? So we are we are going to look at something on the right hand side. You see in the format section, I'm clicking on it again. We have style, okay, we have text, and then we have arrange. Now in arrange, we can say back, but if I say back, it's going to go right behind. All right. We say front, it's going to come right in front. Okay, so we're going to just say backward. Okay, this is a little confusing because the words don't mean anything. It's just you need to know this. Backward is one step back. All right, and then you do it again, and you go two steps back. Okay, but we're not going to do that. We're going to go backward one step. Okay, now what we're going to do is, now we have the cropped version, which is the masked version over here. Okay, so we're going to click on the blue black background over here. Okay, and once we do that, what we're trying to do is we're trying to mask it. So let's try a darker color, and that darker color would be, say, let's just take black. And once we do that, we'll try to reduce the opacity of black and try to at least make it a little translucent over there, just so that you can actually see the background of the complete picture. So once we do that, we have this thing, and it actually gives you the illusion of being highlighted. So Skill School Online with the logo would be highlighted. All this, just make sure that everything is on the second slide. Okay, all these things. And once we do that, we can actually click on Skill School Online. All right, and we'll try to push this into the picture frame. Instead of, you just go to the border over here, right on top, select it first, go to style, that is under format, you have style, not image and not arrange. Go to style, and you have border. You click on border, and you click on picture frame. Now you have a lot of options. All right, I've already created my option over here, which you can see. Sometimes you might get this as default, and it is a lot of width for the border, so you have to just scale it down a little. Okay, so that it just has that little area around the highlighted version, okay, to give it that effect. Now we have that particular thing done. Okay, and now the opacity of this is high, so that means it's bright. The background opacity is 79%. If we take it a little lower than that, okay, it's going to be bright. The opacity needs to be a little, okay, let's just make it 75%. Okay, so now we have this entire slide, which we can call it the highlighted slide. All right, and now we shall talk about how exactly the transition makes its way through from the first slide to the second slide. Okay, so right now what we need to achieve is the smooth transition from the first slide to the second. All right, or whichever slide that comes later. So now we got to go and highlight the first slide. And once we highlight the first slide, we're going to look at the inspector. This entire thing is called the inspector, but it doesn't say here, but it is usually called this word called inspector. The format button, the animate button, and the document button. These three are given over here. And we need to right now make sure that you click on the first slide and we go into animate. All right. And once you go to animate, okay, it might be a little different in the older keynotes, but the one now have these three as the main on the right hand side. So once we go into the animate section, you can have these transitions over here, which you can change. You can have cube, you can have a lot of things over here. If you say change, you'll have this entire list that pops down or drops down. I'd say I usually use dissolve. Okay, and you can see it previewing. Once you actually change it, it starts previewing. I can also preview it while just clicking on this button over here, and you get the idea. So once we do that, it has a timer on the right hand side, which I've set to 2 seconds. And you can also set it to 3 seconds to just get the effect, to understand the effect. All right, so now let's just put it 3, and this transition is always on click, not automatic, because if it's a presentation, then you don't want it going ahead before you even complete the sentence or the slide. We click on preview over here, and you can see the transition moving from the first slide to the second. So I'm just giving you the slow-mo kind of transition because so that you can at least understand it. But you can always look at 1.5, which is good, or even 2. So I'd say 2 because it gives you that transition that is easing in and then easing out. The transition is done. Let me get rid of this. So this is exactly how you would go ahead and create that kind of illusion where it really helps you create a professional slide or presentation enough to highlight, even though like the way I'm teaching now, and if I had to use it for my skill school online courses, I'd use the same thing because it actually gives you that focus element for the students to you know um, block out the rest of the nonsense that's happening on the screen enough to focus on what exactly is and needed by the student to remember. So that's a trick that we use. The tutors, most of the tutors use this particular trick, and there are more transitions and more tricks and tips and tricks that I will be discussing on for Keynote in the coming videos. And these are the ones which you will have to incorporate in order to get anybody's attention. And just remember, nobody's going to look at this particular transition and say, hey, look at that, amazing, it's really beautiful and fantastic, how did you do it? No one's going to say that, probably never going to say that. It's just something that works in the background and people just look at it and say, wow, I mean, okay, fine, that's what I want to concentrate on. So this is exactly how it is. So, well, there you go. This is one thing that will lead to a few ways of keeping people in focus, and also clients and other people you want to present to. So this is it, but don't forget to join me on other videos which will be created for you. So don't forget to subscribe to Skill School Online, the YouTube channel, and looking forward to seeing you in the next video. All right, ciao.